So you want to become an AI engineer. Find a laptop, learn some Python, plug into ChatGPT's API, and watch the six-figure offers roll in. That's the plan in your head, and honestly, it's not a bad instinct. Open LinkedIn on any Monday morning, and it looks like the easiest career pivot in the world. Every other post is someone announcing they just landed a $180,000 AI role with no CS degree. There are boot camps promising you'll be job ready in 90 days. There are YouTube thumbnails with guys in front of Lamborghinis telling you AI engineering is the new gold rush. You scroll through that and you think, this has to be the fastest path to financial freedom that's ever existed. More AI, more demand, more money. Simple. Here's the problem. You are looking at the highlight reel of a field that is a lot more complicated than it looks from the outside. Because AI engineering is not really just a coding job. It is a systems thinking discipline that happens to use machine learning tools. And the moment you understand that difference, everything about how AI engineers actually get hired, what they actually do all day, and how the ones at the top actually earn what they earn starts to make real sense. Let's start with what you're actually getting into, because the job title is a lot less defined than most people think. There isn't one type of AI engineer. There are several, and each one is really a different career wearing the same job title. At the entry level, you have the AI application developer, the person who takes existing models like GPT or Claude and builds products and tools on top of them through APIs. They're not training models from scratch, they're orchestrating them, chaining them together, wrapping them in product logic. Above that sits the ML engineer, the person who fine-tunes existing models on custom datasets, manages training pipelines, and knows the difference between a model that works in a notebook and one that can survive real production traffic. Above that, the research engineer who is deep in papers, building novel architectures, and usually sitting inside a lab or a frontier AI company. And then there's the ML ops and AI infrastructure engineer, the person nobody talks about on LinkedIn but every serious AI company desperately needs, because a model that isn't deployed reliably is just an expensive science project. Each of these is a completely different bet on the same underlying question. Do you want to build things with AI, or do you want to build AI itself? That single decision shapes every skill you'll need, every job you should apply for, and honestly, every year of your career. Now here's where the naive mental model falls apart. Most people think the expensive part is learning the math, the linear algebra, the calculus, the statistics. And for some paths, that's true, but for a large and growing portion of AI engineering jobs, the expensive part isn't the math. It's the engineering fundamentals underneath it. A model that can answer questions brilliantly inside a Jupyter notebook is nearly useless inside a real product if you don't know how to build APIs, handle failures, manage latency, structure a database, or think about security. These are software engineering fundamentals that every serious AI engineer needs before the AI part even begins to matter. Companies aren't just hiring people who can prompt GPT-4 cleverly, they are hiring people who can build production systems that happen to have intelligence inside them. This is the trap that catches most career switchers. They spend 3 months learning transformers and skip the 6 months they should have spent understanding how real software is built and deployed at scale. The foundation isn't optional. It's the thing the AI actually sits on top of. Now let's talk about the roadmap, because this is where most guides go completely theoretical and useless. So let's just do the honest version. If you are starting from zero, the realistic timeline to your first legitimate AI engineering job, not a freelance project, not an internship, but a real full-time role, is somewhere between 12 and 24 months of focused, deliberate effort. Not 90 days, not 6 months, a year to 2 years, depending on how much time you can dedicate and whether you had any technical foundation before you started. The first 3 to 6 months are about building that foundation. Python at an intermediate level, not just syntax, but actually understanding how to structure code and work with libraries. SQL, because almost every AI system touches a database somewhere. Basic REST. APIs and how the web actually works. Git and version control, because collaboration is real. And statistics fundamentals, not graduate level, but enough to understand what a distribution is, what loss means, what you're actually optimizing when a model trains. Months 6 through 12 are where the AI layer comes in. You build real projects using existing models. You learn the major frameworks. You understand how to fine-tune a model, not just call one. You start deploying things, even if it's just a small Flask app on a free cloud tier. The projects you build in this phase become your portfolio, and your portfolio is almost more important than your resume at this level of the field. Here's where a lot of people stall out, and it's worth pausing on. Building a project that works on your machine and building a project that you can confidently walk a hiring manager through are two completely different things. The second one requires you to understand not just what the code does, but why every decision was made, what the trade-offs were, and what you would do differently. If you can't answer those questions, you haven't finished the project yet. Months 12 through 18 or 24 are about specialization and job targeting. This is when you pick a lane. Are you going deeper into language models, computer vision, AI infrastructure, recommendation systems? The generalist who knows a little about everything is harder to hire than the specialist who clearly owns one domain and can speak to it with depth. Employers are not looking for people who have done AI. They are looking for people who understand a specific piece of AI well enough to be trusted with it on day one. Now let's talk about money, because that's really why most people are here. The entry-level AI engineering salary in the United States right now sits roughly between $90,000 and $130,000 at a traditional company and higher at tech-forward startups or AI-native companies. That's real money. But here's what the LinkedIn posts don't tell you. The $180,000 and $200,000 roles are not entry-level. They are 3 to 5 years in at companies that are specifically building AI products, not just using AI tools. The people earning that are specialists with track records and production systems behind them. The ceiling is genuinely high in this field, higher than most engineering disciplines right now, because demand is still growing faster than supply. But the floor requires a lot more work to get to than most of the content you'll see online will admit. There is also a structural shift happening in this field that's worth understanding before you commit to a specific path. The companies hiring the most AI engineers today are not necessarily the ones hiring the most in 3 years. As foundational models get better and easier to use, the application layer is commoditizing. The jobs that will be hardest to automate and therefore most valuable are the ones closest to the systems level and the research level. The person who understands how the model works at a deep level, not just how to call it, has a career path that compounds over time. The person who only knows how to wrap an API is in a more fragile position than they might realize right now. So if you do decide to go down this road, remember the one thing that actually determines whether you succeed. It was never really about which bootcamp you picked, which YouTube playlist you followed, or how fast you finished a course. It's about how deeply you understood each concept before you move to the next one, and whether you can prove it by building something real. AI engineering is not a credential you collect. It's a capability you build, one honest project at a time.